Okay. There we go. Okay. Well, hello everyone. Uh, Thank you for the raid, love. Welcome in. My name is Stitch. I am your friendly non-binary alien demon here on Twitch. I'm also best friends with the Mothman. I use they them pronouns exclusively. Um, Today is a big day. Today we are saying goodbye to this version of Stitch as you see it. Is it? Don't know. I don't know what to screw with it. Um, it's as set as it can be. And I'll have to fix it later. But, no, I'm literally right on top of it. Um, Let me adjust it. Maybe. Um, anyway. Um, okay, thank you. Like I said, today is a special day. It is a day of me saying goodbye to this model, ushering in a new one, and I am very excited, also nervous. We're going to talk about the lore for my model. We'll be looking at my model parent, at their VGen, and I will be also switching the information in the panels below about who made my model, and I will also be switching that information on my link tree as well. But yeah, all of these redeems will not work on the new model until I get them fixed. Alright, Kaiser. Get your redeems in. I'm gonna have to update the redeems, because there's gonna be stuff that's gonna be going away. There's also gonna be a new one that will be coming. No, thank you for that, Pat. There's also gonna be, like I said, there's gonna be a new one coming in as well. But let's me do something. I'm gonna mute the music. Some of you may have not seen these, so I figured, why don't I share with you this video that I yeah, I'm turning it down. Hold on. Okay. So let me. Right. So yeah, I'm turning it down. Turning it down. I didn't expect it to be as loud as it was. Apologies. Right. This was the first video that dropped. That was the first video. Then we had a second one that dropped. find that one. And that was the second one that dropped. Thank you for the drink, by the way, cousin. So, I guess, without further ado, we're gonna say goodbye to this model. Yeah, you're gonna see the back stuff, but and aloha to the new me. So, take it all in. Hi, how you doing? I have evolved. I have evolved. I have escaped the vents. I have evolved. My eyes have completely changed. I have now got 2 sets of horns, bigger fangs. Yep. And we'll get to that as well. We have my new tail that reacts with my entire behavior. So the more excited I am, more the tail moves. You might be able to spot some spot some influences from pop culture, because I am very big into certain things. For example, the tail was inspired by xenomorphs, and I have a necklace on that has a heartogram for the band Him, because they are my absolute favourite band in the entire world, even though they're no longer together. And my corset is inspired by Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is one of my favourite movies, so is Beetlejuice 2. Of course, I kept my hair. I had to keep the blue. But I have a little surprise with this model. Yeah, that's right, a surprise. Can you believe it? I actually have a surprise for you. Bam. Plague Doctor mask. Mm-hmm. And that will be a redeem. That will be a redeem. Now, do we want to get into some of my lore? Do you guys want to get into my lore? I think we should get into my lore. Yeah, it is. you some lore about me. First of all, the alien part of the alien demon might just be a xenomorph among other aliens. There may not be just xenomorph. No one's really sure about the demon part or how it happened. No one really knows. I am known as the local cryptid. Besides being known as an alien demon, I am known as a local cryptid. I crash landed in some area of West Virginia. I can't tell you where, but some area. I met the Mothman very early on in my time on Earth. And Mothman is my best friend. I am friends with other cryptids like the Flatwoods Monster and other known West Virginia cryptids. Don't know them very well, but we are friends. My spaceship is functional, as you can see. I could go back to space at any time. I am madly in love with the cybernetic living armor known as Sarcastic Kaiser. You know, it's just absolutely madly in love with him. This may not be my final evolution. And I do exclusively go by they, them pronouns. Please respect that. That means you see this model, just because you see it, does not mean it is she, her. It is they, them. Please respect that. I really do. I really would appreciate that. Now, well, thanks for that. I don't think I'm really wearing one, but, you know. I really don't think I'm wearing one. Yeah. Now, for all intents and purposes, I'm sure you guys would like to know who made this beautiful model. Well, I'm gonna get their VGen page up, so you all can see who gave me life. I've got to do a few things behind the scenes. Hang on a minute. It's okay, I'm gonna have the whole stream available on YouTube after. What do I want to do here? This. Okay. Oh, hi, Grandpa. You came just in time for me to talk about who made my model. So, this is my model parent, Zoe Squid, on VGen. Not only did Zoe make the art for my model, she also rigged my model. She is wonderful to work with. She is absolutely amazing. If you're looking for someone relatively inexpensive that will listen to you and send you works in progress all the way through and will literally be in contact with you as often as possible. Hi, Lexi, I'm sorry you're still sick. But if you are looking for someone, please, please, please do go consider Zoe. Zoe. Their artwork is gorgeous. I'll show you the model art I received because Zoe sent me a full ref sheet. So this is my actual ref sheet. And what's funny is this has been public, as you can see,
Smash.
since December of last year. It's been public since last year. And then my rigging video that she shot to show off my rigging was available. Was literally available last month. Kaiser knew this entire time. Kaiser knew this whole time. He saw step by step. He saw step by step from the get-go. There was only one. Yeah, I still got weapons. There was only one other individual who knew, and they're currently streaming. Paladin Mags was the only other one who knew. But please, seriously, if you guys are looking for a model parent, be it for the rigging or your artwork or even both, do consider Zoe. Like, holy fuck, did she smash this out of the park. All I had, literally, for her was a layout of kind of what I was looking for in images with text. She literally went with images and text and made this. Like, holy shit, come on. I will get you a link to her VGen. Let me pull that up. She is also on Blue Sky. Yeah, I had a mood board collage. That is my model parent. And credit will be going into my panels below, as well as it will also be going into my link tree, and it'll also be going on my Blue Sky. But the funny thing is, all I did, honestly, I posted innocently enough on Blue Sky about how I would love to have my own model someday that wasn't wholesale, that was entirely mine. And Zoe saw it and responded and was like, hi, I don't want you to think I'm a bot, because I'm not, but I do vtuber art and I rig. I'd love to talk to you. Maybe we can work something out. Hi. I am birthed. I am birthed because of an innocent Blue Sky post with an innocent comment. Literally, that's how it happened. And I am so forever grateful. And unfortunately, Zoe's been sick recently, so I really hope Zoe gets better soon. I will be hopefully somehow, some way, getting her credit here on Twitch as well if she has a Twitch account, because I don't know if she does or she doesn't. But she honestly exceeded my expectations. She also does have, like I said, a blue sky. This is her blue sky, if you've got blue sky. She also has a card. And this is her card. And like I said, you know, you want someone affordable who will do everything. Thank you for the drink, happiness. How are you? And the posture check. Like he said, if you want someone who's really gonna do everything, please do give her a look. She deserves it. She just recently. Thank you for the kiss, Kaiser. Mwah. She just recently got verified on VGen as well. So I'm very happy for her. And honestly, I had been looking, I think now, maybe the better part of a year, if not longer, for a model parent. I wasn't sure if I was gonna have to have a model mama and a model papa. I really wasn't. And sorry, just kind of fell in my lap because of blue sky. But she was willing to like work with changes and everything too. So this is honestly like big for me. The next steps for the stream will be I will be saving any money I get in payouts from Twitch to go towards getting new emotes to replace the original ones that are here. That does also include animated emotes because I have quite a few slots for animated as well as static. And I have quite a few slots for tier 1 subs as well as for followers. So that's going to be the next step. And we will be looking at merch in the future. Yes, yes. You filthy degens, there will be a docky of me coming at some point in the future. Because I know you're all filthy degens and you want that. And I also might look into plushies of my tail. Shush! Yeah, I may be looking into doing plushies of my tail. I won't ban you! Come on now. You're not gonna get banned for that. You leave my Lexi alone, Kaiser. I adopted Lexi. Lexi's one of my children. Leave my Lexi alone. No, I haven't banned you yet, Grandpa. But I also overhauled the stream. Is it really? I did. I overhauled the entire stream. I don't know if you can tell. The overhaul went live last night after I finished stream. Oh, you shut up, Kaiser. You shut up. So like I said, I overhauled the whole stream last night. Brand new starting soon screen, brand new game screen, brand new BRB, brand new chat screen, brand new ending, even a brand new offline screen. I did a lot. Um, and that'll also be another thing. I will probably be overhauling the panels at some point as well. Make them more cohesive. But I have to run ads now because stream's yelling at me and screaming at me to run ads. So you guys get to see the new BRB screen if you're subbed. If you're not, well, fuck ads, I guess. I mean, I'm sorry. I have to do it. Twitch is yelling at me about it. But you get to see the pretty new BRB screen. I promise I'll be back soon. You can see my pretty face when I get back. You're fine, Lexi. Save your money. You have stuff you have to save for. Okay, I'm gonna go quickly do this BRB. That way pre-rolls are done and don't exist when people come in, and I'm not getting yelled at by Twitch to run them. There we go. Thank you. I really don't know what's going on with Discord today. Not Discord, my mic. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know what's going on with RBS. Yeah. I don't know. I probably won't be live for long, because I do want to spend time with Kaiser. It is Valentine's Day. But I did want to... No, it can't. It can't handle me. There's too much of me. I did want to give everyone a gift of new me, I guess. Yeah, I guess that works, yeah. Because, in truth, and this is absolute truth, if it weren't for the subs, the bits, and all the stuff, and even just hanging out in chat and watching during ads, my model wouldn't have been possible. None of this would have been possible. Because all of the money that I get from Twitch goes into savings to be built up to then turn around and be put back into stream. So none of this would have been possible without any of you. Regardless of if you sub, if you donate, whatever. Even if you're just in chat lurking and you are there during the ads, it helps. Every bit helps, regardless. And I know, like, streamers say that a lot, but it's the truth. We would not exist on Twitch without anybody. Like, if we didn't have a community, we didn't have a chat, we didn't have an Ohana, whatever you want to call yourself, your group of your community. If we didn't have lurkers, if we didn't have any of that, you wouldn't exist. You guys literally make or break someone's success on this platform. So, from the bottom of my alien demon heart, thank you so much for making my 2.0 possible. Honestly, thank you. And thank you so much for being with me on this journey as I've continued. And whether or not you've been there from the start, whether or not you just found me, any little bit is amazing. I'm gonna continue to do this, obviously. And I hope that we can continue to go onwards and upwards with this journey. I mean, hell, you guys have smashed 3 of my goals for Ohana within less than a month. I've had to up that goal 3 different damn times because of you all. I started off thinking, 420, funny number. Maybe I'll get that. That happened really quickly. Thought, 450, why not? That won't happen. Shut my mouth. It happened. Then I thought, 480, why not? I need to shut the fuck up. Because it happened again. So now we're down at 500. And that doesn't happen just because happens because of you guys. Whether you know, say, hey, you guys should check out this cool streamer, or you share it amongst your friends, your family, communities are in, reposting tweets or skeets or whatever the fuck you want to call them. Or going to someone recent that you're watching and they're like, hey, do you have a rave target? And they're like, hey, you know, you should check out this streamer, they're really cool. A community is what you make of it, really. And I thank all of you for it. And I do think that 2025 is going to be a really good year, despite some of the shit that's going on in the world now. No, I'm not going to break my own rule. But, you know, it's already starting off strong for me with not only the new model, breaking Ohana count 3 times already, getting a new sponsor, which is Uddy. Yeah, I'm an ambassador for the Uddy, exclamation mark Uddy in chat. That'll get you some money off with your order. And let me tell you, things are warm as hell. You can go out in freezing. Well, Leroy could just show you that too. You can go out in like really cold temperatures and that thing and not feel it. It's like wearing a damn blanket. They are worth the money. Like, absolutely worth the money. My mothership actually tried to steal mine. Why? I am not a Pokemon. I dare you to try. I'm not a Pokemon. Well, yes! But I'm not a Pokemon! But that was a Pokeball! I'm not a Pal Sphere. I'm just gonna stare into your soul, sir. Your soul is mine, I earn it now. And those who are... Really? I was gonna say something, but okay. Thank you for the drink. You're attempting to drown me, I get it. Thank you for the posture check as well. For those of you who are watching the VOD back, that were not here for the live reveal, again, still also would not be possible without you. Because you're just as much a part of this community as those who are here for the live reveal. Doesn't matter if you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching it back on Twitch, because I will be posting this to YouTube. Doesn't matter. I appreciate every single one of you. That's the honest truth. And for those of you who are lurking and were not here for the fun little add-on that I've got, what's up? Hi. This will be a redeem. Don't pet your unit. Okay. But yeah, this will be a redeem in future. It'll be replacing the Confess Your Sins I mean, true. You will replace, like I said, it will replace Confess Your Sins. I do, hopefully in the future, have plans to get additional outfit toggles. Um, we'll see what happens with that. But I have everything, so I could get them. Just, keep an eye out. Or two. I'm not your mother. I don't know what to, I can't tell you what to do. I mean, you could keep both eyes out. You could keep one out. No eyes. You know, like I said, I'm not your mother. Um, since it's gonna replace Confess, I probably won't do a voice changer. But I'll still do the same voice. God damn it, Kaiser. I'll still do the same voice, for it. Yeah, I'll probably still do the same, like, voice that I already do for the Confess Your Sins. Yeah. What time is it? Oh my god. Yeah. No, because the last time I tried to use a voice changer with this mic, it didn't work very well. So, I think, honestly, I'm not gonna bother with it. However, that being said, um, let's see here. Okie doke. Well, I think I'm gonna hop off of here. We've had some fun with the new model, the lore, and everything. I think. Kaiser. I think we're gonna go give a little bit of a raid to somebody. Say hi. Why don't we go raid the other conspirator that knew about all of this? um, but do remember you are loved, you are valid, and you matter. Do something to make someone smile today, because tomorrow is not promised. Tell them you love them. I love you, my Ohana. Thank you again for everything, because without you, oh, none of this would have been possible. If you're not subbed, this is your raid message. If you are subbed, this is your raid message. Do copy it down. Go show Mags all the love. I'll see you all tomorrow for Pal World with the new me. Have a good night, everyone, and happy Valentine's.